Happiness is beautiful, it's a kind reality. Happiness is the highest good, happiness is free. So let's be so very happy. Yeah, let's be so very happy. Yeah, let's be so very happy.
Welcome to the Happiness Show. This is Lionel Ketchian, and I'm here with George Ortega, and we're here to talk about happiness because happiness is, always has been, and always will be the point of it all. Today we're going to be talking about happiness and music, and with that, I've got the perfect gentleman to introduce to you, which you all know, George Ortega. George, you play an instrument, so you certainly know about music.
Yeah, I've played guitar for several years since I was a kid, and you know, when I was doing the show previously, I would do a song within each show, and yeah, music is great for happiness. It's amazing because music was kind of like, I don't know if you can say it was discovered or invented. It's certainly not natural, right? I mean, right. I suppose it started with rhythms, then melodies, but it's one of few things in life that has been scientifically demonstrated to be able to enhance one's mood.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's something very magical about the tones and the rhythms and the melodies, yeah.
I know for myself, the few times I let my hair down, I guess, so to speak, and there's some music that I love, and nobody's around, so I'll just dance around a room and I feel like an idiot, but it feels great. It really feels good to just let loose. Something happens. Music actually transforms you and allows you maybe to be like a kid again, or to let go of your, I don't mean rational mind, but your thinking rational mind, where you're not thinking about stuff. You're just into feeling good, connecting with the moment. And you're certainly not thinking about your problems. You're just thinking about, this feels great.
Yeah, and it's amazing. It's like, it's somehow a very, very subtle influence. I mean, I'm not sure it's understood exactly why music affects us the way it does. But they they understand it, at least to the point where, for example, you've heard of the Mozart effect. It's basically discovered several years ago that Mozart's music is especially pleasing. Other kinds of music, genres of music are pleasing also, but for some reason, his particular music, classical music, is generally more inducive of pleasure than others, which is very interesting. But yeah, it affects us in a certain way, and it's not understood, but it certainly does.
Well, let's stop for a minute. When you're playing your instrument and you're singing, and and of course you write this music as well, right, George? What kind of state does that put you in when you're performing or you're writing? I mean, are you in a different kind of state, or a little different? Can you feel the contrast?
Yeah, definitely. I've felt it playing music, and I've also felt it when I've been like in an audience, a live audience, watching performers on stage. And this psychologist, Mikhail Csikszentmihalyi, describes this feeling as flow.
Right.
The idea where like you get so into the activity that you kind of lose a sense of self. You lose a sense of what's going on, and you're so focused on the pleasantness, on the activity, that it just transforms you. It takes you into a special place that I guess is apart from the kinds of thoughts that we ordinarily have that sometimes tend to limit our happiness. This kind of frees us from those kinds of thoughts.
Yeah, as you're saying that, the thought I have is that imagine, and maybe we've all experienced this. Imagine feeling that you're concentrating on this problem, or maybe a person that was aggravating to you during the day, that kind of thing. And then all of a sudden, one of your favorite tunes comes on the radio, and then all of a sudden you realize maybe hours later that you completely forgot about being aggravated about the person, and you got caught up with the music. So the music changed your state. Yeah. And so it's a good thing. I mean, if it can do that, it is putting you in the flow, as you say, with the book written by such a difficult name to pronounce, Csikszentmihalyi, Mikhail. And to be in the flow is really to forget about time, to step into what I would call happiness, and to experience in a sense, one's true self. You know, to really feel that you're really in touch with reality. Maybe music really just makes you feel like you're in touch with reality more.
Okay, yeah, and then I could maybe add to it, in touch with that part of reality that's maybe like the most pleasant, the most meaningful.
Okay.
Yeah, because you know, it's amazing. I mean, everybody drives and everybody has a CD player or a tape player or a radio in the car.
Right.
And I would imagine with almost everyone, the music's on all the time driving. It's such a part of our culture, you know, and I think it's important because happiness has been shown to come from feeling pleasant moods frequently. You know, sometimes it's not the intensity of the mood, but the frequency. And so, like, yeah, if we're listening to music during various times of the day, it will take us, as you were saying, from whatever state we were in, it'll bring us into that more pleasant state.
Well, anything that can change your state of mind is into a more positive state is really a very, very powerful thing. And thank goodness for that. Now, I not to turn it to a negative note, but unfortunately, other than classical music and, you know, a few other things, when it comes to lyrics, there isn't a lot of positive lyrics to go along with that mood enhancer that we're talking about in general. Would you say?
You've got a very good point, Lionel, because even though, like, melodies, I mean, music, you know, it can make you very happy, it can bring you a lot of pleasure, but depending on what kind of music, what kind of tones, what kind of melodies, it can also evoke other emotions. There are some forms of music that are very good at evoking anger, and I think this started probably in the early '60s, where you had these singer-songwriters turned into social revolutionaries, and they started complaining about, you know, I think in a very good, you know, for very good reasons often. But the idea is, yeah, music can inspire sadness, it can inspire anger, it can inspire all these moods, and unfortunately, as you're saying, you know, a lot of times, just as a lot of television doesn't often inspire the most pleasant emotions, sometimes a lot of music these days inspires anger. And, one of the findings is that a lot of the music today inspires anxiety. You know, that a person experiencing that you know, the music will tend to feel more anxious than before. And that's something that we can work on. That probably goes along with just the whole idea of just kind of transforming our culture into, like, moving toward those kinds of emotions, into just moving more toward the positivity.
Yeah, I know one thing about music that is interesting to me. That you ever get those songs that you just can't get out of your head, and they just sit there, and they're nice, you know, they're nice music. On the other hand, there's been music where I've heard it the first or the second time and really didn't connect with it that much, but then repeating it a few times, all of a sudden it's a great song, but I needed to hear it a few times for me to really connect with it. I'm really just bringing out a point here. And it becomes maybe some of my most favorite music, but I think the very first time I heard it, I wasn't that connected to it, or maybe I listened to it. But as you hear it a few times, if you like it, you really form a connection to it. I'm pretty much analogizing the fact that with happiness, if you don't play it often enough, you're not gonna get used to it, and you're not going to appreciate it. You're not going to sing it over and over in your own head. I think that's another way that music works as a lesson for keeping positive thoughts. They may seem a little strange at first, but if you play them over and over, just like music, you get to love them, and you wouldn't change the station no matter what's happening.
Lionel, that's a very good point. One form of research they've done is they call them repetition studies or immersion studies, and the idea is that a lot of times whatever we see or hear, the more we're exposed to it, the more we see or hear it, the better we like it.
Right.
And so that's why you see so many car commercials, you know, the same one over and over. They know that.
That's true.
And related to music and happiness, you're exactly right. Music, pleasant music, can just, like, remind us. It can, like, you know, we hear it, and we like it more and more, and each time we hear it, it reminds us to get into that happy mood, that positive state of mind. And we need those reminders, because, you know, often, like, if we're driving around somewhere, if we're working, if we're doing whatever, we get sometimes so distracted by what we're doing, we forget that we can feel very, very happy while we're doing whatever we're doing. So music is a wonderful way of just reconnecting us.
George, you're 100% right. I can't, it may be 101% right. I can't agree with you more about the reminder thing. If it's music that could show us that we can get into a better state of mind, then it's a great reminder. And it could also be a catalyst to show us that we can find happiness, because, you know, all music is really doing is, with an outward signal, it's allowing us to get connected to ourselves somehow in a positive way. That's why I'd like to see more positive lyrics in music, because that'll help the connection even more, because, you know, the same way as we hear too much of it and it becomes a good thing, when we hear too much of the negativity, it becomes a bad thing and we get sick and tired of hearing it. But at least we have to learn to move away from that as well. So we have to channel what we're allowing in, you know?
Oh yeah, Lionel, I've got a revolutionary proposal here.
Okay.
Here we go. Okay, so we're talking about, like, the fact that music can induce different emotions.
Right.
And we have the rock and roll, the rock music of today that, you know, the more newer styles of music have evolved from. They evolved from the blues, and the blues they're a wonderful music. That's how I learned how to play guitar. That's how most rock musicians get their start.
Right.
But what happens sometimes, especially with the lyrics, you know, sometimes if we talk about our problems in a certain way, like if we laugh about them, it really does help us to overcome them and to feel happy regardless. And that's the point of the blues. You know, it evolved as a form of music that helped people do that. But now, all right, I've got a more direct approach. All right, I think that talking about how a music that's, especially the lyrics that are more enlightening, more inspiring, I think we should have a kind of music called the Yellows.
Okay.
All right. Now, so like, whereas the blues helps us to feel better by talking about our problems in a way that expresses them and helps us get them out and all. Okay. The Yellows would be entirely devoted to not talking about our problems at all, to making pretend they don't even exist.
Wow.
It'd be like perfect world music. And of course, yeah, I say yellows because our smiley is yellow. That's the perfect symbol for happiness.
Okay, so you're suggesting the Yellows, would it have a face like that?
Why not? Why? Smiley could be the national spokesperson.
Okay. All right. Well, it would be okay with me. We've done far worse in some cases. George, as you're talking about that, the Yellows, at our Happiness Club meetings, we have one once a month, and the ones we have in Fairfield, Connecticut, we have one of our members, Lynette Turner, does we always ask her, when we kind of beg her, would you get up and give us a song? And she writes a lot of songs. She's great, she's very inspirational, and she'll get up and with no accompaniment, no music, she'll sing these beautiful songs, and boy, does it get people into this great mood, and we just need more of that. We need more of this signal to tell us to feel good, because there are far too many signals that tell us to feel bad, and unfortunately these signals are just not the truth. They're just warning signals, but we can't live our life with red lights going off every second of the day and then there's nothing behind that. Yes, there could be bad things that could happen to us, but we just can't live that way all the time.
Right.
It's just not the way to live. So maybe music is our inspirational value to our quality of life being enhanced for the most part.
I think so. I think it's very powerful, because it's like what happens sometimes, like when we watch television, and especially I think when we watch motion pictures in the movies, they do have such power to transform us. And again, with music, music just places us in a more positive state of mind. I mean, it has that power. Again, we have to be discriminating and select the kind of music that will do that. Some music can make us very sad. So I mean, that might feel good for a while, but I think in the long term, it's probably wiser to have a music that feels very, very good. which brings me then like to the idea that, you know, psychologists have found that like what, in terms of what we buy, the things that make us the happiest aren't necessarily material things like cars and houses so much. They're generally more experiences, like a meal at a restaurant, going on vacation, going to a museum. These are the kinds of things that we look back on and we feel pleasure while we're doing them, and we feel pleasure remembering them. So then regarding music, music is a very good investment because of that. Because it's like, you're not buying, when you buy a CD or something, you're not buying the CD, the physical thing, you're buying the experience. You know, you're buying those minutes of just being in that experience, of being taken from your point to a more pleasant point.
That's an excellent point. And, you know, as you were talking about how music sets the mood and all that, I was thinking, imagine watching a horror show, or really any movie for that matter, and just turn the sound off it. The show would almost have no meaning. I mean, you wouldn't be surprised. You wouldn't feel that feeling of expectation and fear without the music. So the music carries the ability to evoke a response, very definitely, even more than everything else. I don't think we've come to understand that or really see it for what it is. But as you say, without the music, that silence is very different.
Yeah, we've got about a minute, so I'm going to introduce one more super revolutionary idea. Okay, you know how like sometimes when we're watching a movie, there's a soundtrack.
Right.
And that soundtrack adds so much to whatever's going on. Imagine walking through your hometown, through the city streets, whatever, and like through loudspeakers, there's some kind of music going on that's hopefully pleasant, hopefully accepted by everyone. That would probably add a lot to people's experience. I mean, it could be like in the morning, it could be a certain kind of music. In the evening, more laid back, more relaxed. But talking about a way to just get people in touch with the feelings in their life. Oh, that'd be amazing.
I like it. Well, we have elevator music. So you know what we could do? At a very busy, when there's a backup of traffic, we can have loudspeakers come on and soothe everybody so they don't beep and, you know, play a little of the music you were talking about, something in the back. Maybe people won't even realize it, and they'll get right into the flow of everything. Yeah, that's a great idea. I like it. Well, we're just about out of time. We thank you for joining us, and let's go over to Amy Branch in San Francisco on the West Coast Happiness segment. Thank you, Amy.
Hi. This is Amy Branch on the Happy Zone. Thank you so much for joining us. Today we have a special guest, Jason Kleinberg. He is here to talk to us today about music and happiness. Thank you so much for joining us, Jason.
You're welcome. Good
And just so we're on the same page, what is your definition of happiness?
Well, first of all, I don't know. I think that a lot of times it's something kind of elusive, and like I guess the official purpose of my being here today is to like say how music makes me happy, but it's kind of, I would almost say that it's almost something that I try not to think about too much, because I think that once you start to sort of think about it and say I'm happy, I mean this, I apologize if this is running counter to everything you stand for or whatever, but like I'm thinking like a lot of times it's just something that's just more fleeting, and it's almost beyond words, like and it can happen while playing music or just hanging out in the shade underneath a tree. So and so I can't really say exactly what it is and a way to define it. I guess it's just a feeling where you're not bogged down by anything. You're not attached to anything or worried about anything, and you're just there. So it's kind of it. But yeah. So is that it's not really a dictionary type definition though.
That's fine. There are actually 36 definitions of happy in the dictionary.
There are. Okay. You could say to yourself, well, you know, music makes me happy. I'm going to do music every day of my life, and you know, but that might not necessarily do the trick or something. It's something more that I don't even fully understand yet. So, yeah.
It is a feeling that comes from within, but I believe that you can cultivate that feeling as best you can. But you just need to know how.
Right.
And one of the things that I do, at least, is put on some music and dance around.
Okay.
That helps.
Yeah.
Do you have a happy song for us today?
Here's one. This is a kid song. I've been starting to write kid songs. I think because a lot of my friends are having kids, and it's the only way I can get people to show up to shows now is that if I start playing kid songs. So here it goes. It's brand new, so I might have to like pause and remember the lyrics, but it's called Tulip. Going in a pot. You are what you are, not what you're not. You sit in the sun, make your own food. You never wonder what to do. Your flower opens in the spring. When we see it, we wanna sing. We wanna bring our love outside to the world, no more to hide. No more. Tulip, once you were a seed. You started out a lot like me. When I stuck you in the ground, little sprout is what I found. When it don't rain, you need my help. I water you all by myself. You look as pretty as my mom. You're going out there on the lawn, on the lawn. Tulip, tulip, oh tulip, oh tulip, tulip, oh grow, you grow. Tulip, always be my friend. Stay with me until the end. You don't ask a lot from me, so you help to set me free. Wish everyone in the world could have a tulip, bless you,
Thank you.
to care for. And this song I give to you, 'cause you always give your love so true. Your love is true. Tulip, tulip, oh tulip, oh tulip, tulip, oh tulip.
Yay! Thank you. It was lovely.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Do you teach other people music too for 8 years? Have you noticed that their happiness increases when they start getting the
So
groove?
it seems like they get into it. Seems like they're enjoying it. Yeah, I get a lot of positive feedback from it. Definitely, a lot of people who stick with it definitely seem like they're enjoying it, and they may not say, "Thank you, I am so much happier. I've gone from a 5 rating to a 7 rating." But no, in general, yeah, I get a lot of like kind of positive feedback, like I'm having a lot of fun and that kind of thing, and it's cool. Yeah. So this song I wrote, you know it, note for note, don't worry. be happy. Oh, that reminds me of something. I don't know if, okay, this is the thing that will require some audience participation, and since there's just you and our camera person, Katie, it's called Something I Did Today. And now all you have to do, Amy, is just say something in brief that you did today, and then when you're done, if you can, either just give me some kind of signal or say it wasn't much. Okay, so just tell me about something you did today.
Today, I helped a friend feel comfortable and in a place where she didn't feel comfortable, and then I had a wonderful breakfast. It wasn't much.
Oh, but it was something she did today. Wasn't worth writing home about, but she wrote home about it anyway. Okay, do you want to say anything? Okay, cool. So this is, we're breaking down the fourth wall, and the camera person is gonna come over here. Her name is Katie. Say hello to Katie, and she's gonna...
Hi, Katie. Thanks for joining us.
Talk about something she did today.
There we go. I think we're all in here.
What did you do today?
Today I made a salad. It really wasn't much. I shared it with a little creature walking all over my counter. Went into the broccoli. It took a little piece. It hid it behind a corner and munched on its treat. Today I made a salad. It really wasn't much.
It was something she did today. Wasn't worth writing home about, but she wrote home about it anyway. Okay, one last one. Just put that microphone up next to one of those yellow flowers there. And yeah. What'd you do today?
Today I soaked up some sun and I reached for the sky.
It was something I did today. Wasn't worth writing home about, but I wrote home about it anyway.
Yay. Thank you, Jason. I just can't stop smiling. All right, well, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you next week. This is Amy Branch, signing off for the Happy Zone.
Okay.
Bye for now.
Happiness is powerful, it's our underlying need. Happiness is why we live each day. Happiness is destiny. So let's be so very happy. Yeah, let's be so very happy. Yeah, let's be so very happy.